So back into Fusion, I'm now going to import this TIFF file. And then if we preview it, we can see, so we have our RGB channels, and we also have our alpha channel in this TIFF file. So let's now get rid of this original and denoised plate. We don't need it anymore. Also the original clean plate file, we don't need that. I just want my undistorted image sequence and the clean plate file. So let's put this tracker a little bit to the side. And I just want to merge this clean plate onto our footage. So let's just add a merge here. So if I now preview this merge, and I want to, in the import, we can say post multiply by alpha. And so now we get this result. So with the merge, we just paste out everything that we don't want in our comp. So this is now all correct for this frame. So, but if we go to another frame, you'll see that we of course have some issues because, yeah, this clean plate that we've created, we need to actually use the tracking data that we have to transform this clean plate that was created on frame 644 and then transform it so that it keeps sticking into the footage that we have. So in this tracker node, you see that we have all these keyframes, and we want to use this data to transform our clean plate. So one way you could do this is to not use the merge here, but just use the tracker. And then we can just get the clean plate into our foreground. And then if we go here into the tracker, so you see that we have our 4 tracking points. And if you go to operation and then do corner positioning, and then let's preview this. And if we now go to another part of our sequence, you'll see that actually this clean plate is being distorted so that it keeps fitting into our background plate. So if I just zoom in a little bit, so you see that it keeps being correct. So or less, we have a little bit of a distortion here, but okay. But you see that now we actually have a good way of pasting that clean plate in our footage. But there is another way that we can get the same effect, and I'm going to do it this other way because we're going to have to do this corner positioning operation multiple times in our comp. So what I actually would like to do, or which is a better way to do it, is just keep this tracker as just the container of that tracking information and then use a corner positioning tool. So in here I'm just going to also just put my clean plates in here. And so on the corner positioner we have these 4 tracking locations, and we need to connect those to the 4 trackers that we have in our tracker. So with the corner positioner selected, we can right click on first the top left, and then you go connect to, and here you will find, so we have the tracker 1, and we have these paths which are the 4 points of our tracker. So if we go back here, so if we go back to our tracker, and so as you can see, we have tracker 1 is the top left corner of our image, tracker 2 top right, tracker 3 bottom left, and tracker 4 bottom right. If I also go onto my tracker 1, so the top left corner, you see that we have all the keyframes on this tracked center, which has an X and a Y coordinate, And if you right click on it, you see that we have this path1_5 attached to it. So this is actually all the keyframes that are in this path of where this top left corner of the image is need to be located to transform our clean plate correctly into our backplate. So if I go then to my corner positioner, so we have this top left, so tracker 1, it needs to be connected to tracker 1. So that is actually path 1. So we can connect it to path 1 and then the position of that. And so you see now, if you look at the values of this X and Y, so minus 0.19 and 1.67, it completely corresponds to these values here. So these two is just a copy of this data from the tracker to this corner positioner, which actually just does the same operation as the corner positioning operation here. So we can actually put this operation back to none and then just connect these 4 points here. So the top right, we can connect to path 2 position, bottom left to path 3 position, and bottom right to path 4 position. So if we preview this, and then just go into our zoom in. So if I go back to frame 644, we have our just the original clean plates here, as we see here. But then if we go more into our timeline, you see that that tracking data is actually applied onto our clean plate. And then if we merge this onto our backplate, then these two are just integrated with each other. And as you can see, I didn't include the feet because this is actually the rolling backplate on the background. So if I go more to the front of my sequence, you can see that we're just going to use this piece of the original plate and then just going to add the keyed out part on top of our clean plate so that these two will combine into the full character. So that's the reason why I separated those two in my clean plate Photoshop file. So let's now just start with keying out the character and putting that on top of our clean plate so that we just have a working shot with the character and the clean plate.